like I just think it's ridiculous, because I think that's what Black people, what our people have to realize, is that's part of the system that's set up against us, is to divide us, is to always, oh, well, I'm Blacker than you, or I'm thisser than you, or I'm better than you. Like, does it matter? Because at the end of the day, under the cover of night, you're Black.
You're Black.
Nobody's
gonna pull her over and be like, "Oh, she's non-foundational."
Oh, she's a non-foundational Black. We can we can let her go.
We like her. She's non-foundational.
It's ridiculous. So we are back, guys, for episode 2, and I'm really excited. We have finally come up with a name for us. We are going to be the 5011 Chronicles Podcast, and what that right? What that means is, like, you know, in Black culture, 5011 represents everything. It's like this infinite number in Ebonics, in AAVE, in African American dialect, like whatever you want to call it. It's something that all of us know what that means, and it's not a specific number. It's not 5011. It's specifically the fact that when someone of our culture says something 5011 times, it means that it's the conversations, the experiences, the voices. That's what we represent. So we are kicking off episode 2. And we're going to be diving into a lot of like great topics that have popped up, right? Including, but not limited to, Amanda Seals. We're going to talk a little bit about some things going on in music, including those Billboard Music Awards. And we're really going to have a great time with our conversation and discussion on Ice Cube this week. So welcome to episode 2, 5011 Fam. Here we are. All right, D, how are you doing? Like, how's your week going so far?
What's today, Tuesday? It just started.
Yes. Right.
I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, but like so far so cool. This whole quarantine blends together for me. So, you know, I just wake up and be like, all right, another day. I made it.
Another day. Right. Made it next day. Like, for me, it's crazy. Like, I know we're not going to talk a ton about the pandemic and everything going on today, but like, it's crazy because for me, like, being in Alabama and having allergy and sinus issues, I'm always freaking out. And so, like, I do the weirdest things. You know, I'm big into essential oils. So, like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll, like, crack open a bottle of essential oils and be like, okay, yes, lemon. I can still smell that it's lemon. I'm good. And I, like, lay back down. It's ridiculous. But I think this time, just for everybody, represents a lot of, like, readjusting. And it's just, like, it's a time that could easily be thrown, like, more and more chaotic. It could easily become more and more chaotic. But I think it really just depends on us how it's going to go from here.
And it's a reset, honestly. Like,
yes,
it's hard for a lot of people, but it's also, it's a great opportunity to reset, not just like money-wise or business-wise, but within yourself. Like, we were able to sit at home, at least in the beginning part of it, for a couple of months where you could just get you together. And you don't have to worry about the outside folks, because it's usually the outside. What Martin say, I'm not angry. People make me mad. But I've been enjoying it. I love it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the time at home. It was like, I wasn't the most excited to go back to work. I mean, I'll be 100% honest. Like, there's no point in me putting on any front. They knew I was not the most excited person to come back to work. I mean, but it's been great to be able to go back to work and make money and, you know, do what I can.
It's a blessing too. It's a blessing.
It is a
blessing. Some people still are not working.
That's very true.
Or they have kids at home and they trying to figure out, how am I supposed to go back to work with these kids homeschooling? So we're definitely blessed in that.
Very blessed.
Sure.
Very blessed. So let's break up, you know, like no darkness this week. We're gonna have a really fun, lighthearted conversation. But we're gonna talk about some tough things too. So I really want us to kick off this first conversation like really light, real easy, surface level. We're gonna start with some music. Now, you know, I love everything going on in music lately, and I don't know if you have had a chance to check out anything from Chloe and Halle lately, but
I haven't. I'm gonna admit I've never listened to their music.
So okay,
I know exactly who they are. I've seen their YouTube videos before they got famous, but an actual track, if they was on the Lion King or something, maybe I heard them. But
maybe right. Well, I'm telling you right now is the perfect time to actually check them out, because I was never the biggest listener to them, but the newest project they've had come out, I think came out a couple months ago, is Ungodly Hour, and there's so many good songs on that. It's this new energy that they're giving. They're letting everybody know that they're grown, that they're about their business. You can definitely see, like, this is a group that was signed by Beyonce, so you can definitely see Beyonce's influence and hand on the talent, on no half step, on their vocal ability, on even like their artistic direction. You can see Beyonce has a hand in that. But I just I'm very proud of the growth. They're also developing actresses, their own grownish. And so I think that I definitely say check out Ungodly Hour by Chloe and Halle. It's a good project. But what I really wanted to talk to you about, I don't know, and it's kind of like a little bit of entertainment conversation, but a little bit deeper than that. So Doja Cat. Right. Okay. I was waiting for the reaction because I didn't know what kind of face I was going to get, because I did not tell you I was going to bring up Doja Cat tonight. So Doja Cat.
Okay. So Doja.
So
talented.
I'm going to talk.
No shade. Talented.
I'm going to talk pure talent. I think we can save the real Doja conversation for another day. But I'm going to talk purely talent.
Okay.
Purely talent. So she did a performance for Billboard Music Awards. You know, all of the award shows have been virtual, and they've been bringing like a lot of unique takes on their music videos or their songs. And Doja did something that I thought was very interesting. I wasn't going to watch it just because of everything culturally that has been going on, but I wasn't going to watch it. But I decided to watch it because I had seen a couple like tweets about it, and knew there was a couple articles floating about it. So I said, let me check it out. And I am a fan of Chicago. So she did a Chicago inspired performance to like Say So, and I think there were a couple other songs. It might have been Juicy, I'm not sure. There were like 3 or 4 of her songs that she did the Chicago inspired performance to. And I just have to say, every time I see her live, I get so upset that the things that come out of her mouth come out of her mouth. But I just, she's so gifted. Like, she's gifted. She can rap, she can sing, she can dance, she can perform. Like, she actually is a strong performer. So I would say if you haven't seen that performance yet, that's definitely one of the things on replay for me this week. So check out the performance, check out Ungodly Hour. I think those are some good music takes for you this week. Anything new for me to check out? Because you did send me a song, and I haven't told you. I live for it. That was cute. I like it. Diana
that's literally
really
that's her sound. So imagine like that sound and album after album, just good, and it's like 90s but fresh and new. Her lyricism is on point. Like, love her. Glad you brought that up too. So first, let me just, because my facial expressions are, so let me just say Doja Cat is very talented. Very talented. The first time I heard her was the song So High, obviously. Song So High. But it was I loved that song, and it made me want to go and listen to her, and I saw like how talented she was dancing and stuff. But the person that I actually want to highlight today can sing, dance, she writes her own stuff, she directs, and she dabbles in acting, you know. And today, and she's not problematic.
Yes, so not problematic. We love that.
I don't have to put a filter on it when I speak her name. I was watching Tiana Taylor's live today, and she was on live with Elton John.
Yes.
And I just want to give Tiana Taylor her flowers, because nobody, like, when she puts out albums, people they tell her how good it is, but it's like it comes out and then we don't hear or see her no more. Like, nobody shows her love after it comes. It's like when it first comes out, it's like, oh yeah, that was really good. All right, next. Like, people don't realize her talent level. First of all, her dancing skills, insane. Yes. Her writing skills, insane. Directing, not only just directing. Let me not say this. Let me shout out the aunties, all female production crew. Okay, love that. You know what I'm saying? So she's doing that. The choreography, she choreographs and styles a lot of her own stuff. And sitting there watching her with Elton John have that moment with him, and really get that recognition from such a legend that she deserves, and that somebody is acknowledging, hey, I see what you're doing, and it's bananas. You know what I'm saying? And not only to just give her flowers, but to also be in a video for her. Some of these top people can't get Elton John in a video.
That's saying something for real. Like,
exactly. And he was telling her, like, it's because of your
Yeah.
talent, like your pure talent. So I just want to give Tiana her, and she's funny. I think she's hilarious, and she's so relatable and down to earth. I love her relationship. I love her and her daughter's relationship. Like, just all around adore her. I love her. I stand her.
Yes.
And she's a 90s vibe girl. So you already
exactly
know. And she's a tomboy. So you already know.
You
I
know,
give
my
her
intro
flowers.
My intro to Tiana Taylor was Super Sweet 16. She was on an episode, and that was my first time like seeing her, but that was before like the music and the acting.
Right.
And I mean, of course, everybody remembers her from the Tyler Perry movie, and you know, Fade when she did the Kanye video. I mean, giving absolute body in the Fade video.
Yeah.
But like that Keep the Same Energy project.
So
for the longest,
she was done
I couldn't
so
put
dirty.
it down. She was done so dirty in that, in the production, in the handling, in the marketing, in the distribute, like everything. They did her so wrong to rush that project out and not give it the time it deserved. And I think she still managed to make the best of that, even with the videos that came out after the release. Like she really took her time doing everything she can to make that work out the best for her.
And
So
I remember seeing her say like that the album that when it came out, that was not the album that she played at her listening
exactly.
And
what she said.
I'm like, why are y'all doing this to her? Like, she literally, it's like she gets up and somebody just decide to punch her. And it's just like, just
Every
let
time.
this girl be great. Like, I don't get it. I don't even understand why she's not like a big star. Because to me, she's kind of like more of like a social media maven type thing. And when her music comes out, like she has a good core fan base, but she should be so much bigger. And she has
really
so many connections, and so many big legendary people have shown her love. But for whatever reason, she's not being put on the platforms like other people are. And I think it's
very true.
Like, did she perform at the award show? Did we see Tiana?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And to be honest, I can't think of any award show I've ever seen her perform at. And she's had hits. The thing is, she's had
and for people to only notice
bops.
her starting with Fade, like
exactly.
Where have y'all been?
What about Google Me? What about Do Not Disturb? Like
Do Not Disturb
was that whole album.
Whole 7 album.
What was that, 7? Yeah, I was about to say 7. Yeah, that was phenomenal.
And then
Do Not Disturb stuck with me. It was just very chilling, like vocals. And
I don't know if you heard her mixtape that she had put out prior to that, The Misunderstanding of Tiana Taylor. It was kind of a play on the Lauryn Hill album.
Lauryn Hill,
so good. It was so with the popular song she had with Pusha T. I can't remember the name of it. I sound like a terrible fan because I can't remember the name of it. But and I didn't see, because we had cable when Super Sweet 16, her episode came out. So I didn't actually see it until I was in college. It was just randomly on TV. And I started watching her Ustreams, and I thought she was hilarious. And that's kind of how I got introduced to her. But it's like, for somebody to be so talented and do so, because even back then she was working with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like, she was in the Little Soup video.
She was, yeah.
Like, she does not get her flowers. So I just wanted to take the time today, especially after seeing that live, to give her flowers while she's
absolutely. Tiana, we salute you. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Black Queen.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the Black Queen. And we can just touch this lightly because it's not it could easily become a whole conversation in and of itself for a whole nother day. But Miss Amanda Seales. So I am actually a pretty big Amanda Seales fan. I remember when she was in Floetry. I remember when she was an MTVJ. I remember of course she's Insecure. I think most recently she was on The Real for like 6 months.
Yeah.
But I read one of her books. I've read it twice actually now, and it's called Small Doses. And phenomenal. I mean, like, she's so witty. She's extremely talented. She's an amazing writer, amazing performer. I mean, she can entertain. She can do it all. Yeah. And she recently went live on Instagram. You know, everybody goes live on IG, you know, when they have something they need to say. Right. And she was calling out a lot of the backlash she's gotten just by being herself and having a voice.
Right.
And I mean, she's always been unapologetic about what she's had to say, how she's felt about different things, whether they've been political, whether they've been sociocultural, whatever realm they've been in. Amanda Seales has been unapologetic about what she's had to say. And I think it's really sad that she had to come back and kind of like add credit to her blackness or defend her blackness, which I think is ridiculous. They were calling her what, a non-foundational black? Is that correct?
Non-foundational black.
Like, what is that? Like, okay, what is that?
So apparently a non-foundational black is someone who their ancestors, were not American slaves. So I'm assuming that includes Caribbean people.
I'm thinking they're saying Islanders.
Heard that phrase until they said it.
I've never heard it before then. Right.
And I'm gonna let you finish before I give my opinion. I just wanted to throw in there what it's supposed to mean. But I'll let
I think it's ridiculous, first of all, because I know, like, you know, looking into like her ancestry, and that's what she was saying. And she goes, you know, her mom's from Grenada, her dad's from Boston. He's African American. Like, she has a black dad. So even if her mom was white, she has a black dad. Like this, and she identifies as a black woman. So
she clearly is a black woman. Matter. You look at her, you know, that's what you see.
And come on now, she doesn't look. She doesn't pass for anything for real, but black. Like, in my opinion, she's light skinned, but she's a black woman. She's obviously a black woman, and I think it's ridiculous. Especially when, and I feel that I have people who are mixed race in my family, and I think it's ridiculous when either they're told they have to choose, or you're not black enough, you're not white enough, you're not Filipino enough, you're not whatever, you're not enough. And you know, I think it blows my mind, because it makes me even think about some of the treatment, some of us who are a little more proper, or who are a little more, you know, we know how to string together sentences, or we know how
like
to speak
rock music
eloquently, or, you know, like white music, or we act white. Like, I think that's ridiculous. So I think for someone to tell her voice doesn't matter because she's not 100% slave, I think that just blows my mind. Like, okay, please give me your opinion on this, because it frustrates me. It really upsets me. We already have enough division within our community. So yeah, like, please take the mic.
First, I'll say, as far as like the whole, like, I can relate, because coming from up north, moving to the south, so many times people told me, oh, you talk white. And I'm like, what is that? Like, everybody where I'm from is predominantly black. So what are you talking about? Like, we all talk like this. What are you saying? Like, that mentality in itself, that for some reason black people don't know how to speak proper English. Like, an accent is one thing, but slang, it does not make you uneducated. That's why they have a whole word for colloquialisms. Like, it's just slang. You know what I'm saying? It's just our dialect. It doesn't make you any more or less educated. And you should be anybody should be able to walk into any room and be able to speak on any level. I should be able to walk in the room with white people and be able to speak to them. I should be able to walk in the room with black people and be able to speak to them. That's a gift. You know what I'm saying? To be able to connect with different people and be able to speak their language, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? That's a gift, you know, that everybody apparently don't have.
Exactly.
We talk white, whatever. But as far as Amanda Seales and the whole non-foundational black thing, for one, I don't even know who came up with that, but whoever came up with that, go home.
Ignorant. Absolutely ignorant.
Absolutely ignorant. It's really disgusting. And to be quite honest, I am not proud that my ancestors were brought here and raped and beat and everything. That's not a badge of honor to me. And at the base of it all, she's still African.
Come on now.
And even if she's Caribbean or Creole or whatever, they were still taken from their country against their will in the same slave trade that everybody else was in. So what makes you more black because you're American? Are you proud to be an American? Because I'd rather be a Canadian, personally. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Amanda Seales, people already just seem to want to not like her because she's so outspoken, because she's so real. Now, granted, sometimes she could be a Sam from Dear White People.
Yes, she can
where she's
easily be a
slaying.
Sam from Dear White People.
Sometimes she
Easily.
could be a Sam. But I feel like it's because she's had to defend her Blackness her entire life, so she has a chip on her shoulder. Then combine that with what she's went through in the industry as a Black woman, with people stealing her work. Even The Real, they didn't want to do her idea.
Exactly.
And then when she leaves, they stole her idea. So she naturally has a chip on her shoulder. And then to see what our people are going through, she's passionate, and she's a Cancer, so she's emotion driven. So I get why she's so intense when she speaks, and I can also see how she could be a Sam to some people, where it could be like, all right, girl, you laid it on thick. Every issue doesn't have to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? I respect her passion. I appreciate her passion, and you should never try to stifle somebody's voice who's speaking up for us, who's a part of us. Because whether she's foundational or non-foundational,
exactly. So
whatever,
stupid.
She still came from slaves, and she's still Black. You know what I'm saying?
Still Black. Exactly.
She's not anything else. What else is she? Like, since when do we separate the Blacks? Who's out here doing family trees? Like, so was your parents slaves here?
Separate the
or was they slaves over there?
Right. Because does it matter? At the end of the day, does it matter?
That is not a badge of honor.
It's not.
The internet can really give you a headache sometimes.
You know what they say? Child, the ghetto. The ghetto.
Exactly. And people were really in the comments, because I'm one of those people where sometimes I'll read the comments just to see what people are saying. Because I wanted to know what a non-foundational Black is. Because I'm like, am I the only one that didn't know what this was?
Right.
And
Somebody make it make sense.
Am I a non-foundational Black? Like, there are white people in my family on my mom's side. You know what I'm saying? But dad's side, we got supposed to, like, am I foundational? I'm confused. Are Caribbean people not Black now?
I mean, and I really feel, because I think part of it was they were trying to connect it back to a conversation on like reparations and things that were specific to American slaves and what policy would look like for Black Americans who were descendants of slaves. But what I think was even more interesting is even in like her rebuttal to all of the backlash she had gotten was she broke down her ancestry. She said, my ancestors, I'm descended from American slaves. Like, I'm descended from slaves here. So anybody who's
she's a Black American.
She's a Black American. Like that. But like, I just think it's ridiculous, because I think that's what our people have to realize is that's part of the system that's set up against us, is to divide us, is to always, oh, well, I'm Blacker than you, or I'm thisser than you, or I'm thater than you. Like, does it matter? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, under the cover of night, you're Black.
You're Black.
Nobody's
Black, gonna pull her over and be like, oh, she's non-foundational.
Oh, she's a non-foundational Black. We can let her go.
We like her.
That's ridiculous. And I think Amanda Seales was a great way to scratch the surface, because she's someone who, I mean, when you hear her name, there's typically some type of little controversy. You find some people who love her, some people who don't. But this next person, typically, most times when you would hear his name, it would be a lot of positive feedback, a lot of love, a lot of support. But now he's kind of in the spotlight and maybe not in the best light. So Ice Cube. Yes. So I think we've got to break this timeline down for everybody, just a little bit of what is going on and how it's going on. So what happened first was Ice Cube, of course, everything going on politically in our country, what's going on specifically with police brutality. Ice Cube, back in August, constructed a document that he titled A Contract with Black America. And it was, I think, 13 points. Everything from like police reform to education to reparations. He discovered these huge topics, and it was very well received. I mean, I was hearing tons of people in our community who had major voices speaking out in support of his platform and in support of the document. And I read the document. I thought it was great. I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, like, this is a great, easy structure, and something that, you know, any campaign can pick up and be able to research and be able to study and be able to, you know, whoever gets elected, whatever the White House ends up looking like in 2021, someone would have something to work from. That it was an easy to read document. But things took a rather interesting twist that I don't think anyone was expecting, because no one was expecting this, especially based off of his track record, Ice Cube's track record, and what he said in the past. But what was her name? Katrina Pearson, a senior advisor for Trump, releases a tweet essentially spilling the beans on
intentionally.
intentionally spilling the beans on Ice Cube's connection and his work that he was now doing with Trump's administration. So a lot of the Black community and Black Twitter was like, what is this? Like, he's supporting Trump now? And it took a lot of actually following the breadcrumbs to realize what was going on here. So from my perception and from my perspective, this is what I see. He has constructed this document and he was invited to meet with Trump's administration to discuss their plan called the Platinum Plan.
Pause. In the timeline, actually, he went to Biden's people first. He went to the Democratic Party.
He went to them first. That's very true.
They said, wait till after the election, we'll get back to you. Then he presented the same thing. He presented it to both sides.
To both sides. Very true.
Sat with who decided to sit with him. Just to clarify. For the people who like to,
Right. Because he did. That is very true. He did. And the Biden campaign did say, okay, let's wait until after the election. And he said the reason he sided or that he is working or collaborating with Trump's administration, not Trump specifically, he has made several times, he's made it very clear he's not working specifically with Trump, but his people are working with Trump's people on this Platinum Plan. And I mean, there has been a lot to come from this. I mean, he's done this crazy number of interviews, which I find slightly suspicious. I'm not even slightly suspicious. I find it suspicious the number of interviews and the amount of press this has gotten. But I did happen to catch the Roland Martin interview, and I did happen to catch some of those comments from D.L. Hughley. So please give me the juice, sis. Please tell me.
So let me just start by saying, to be completely, because I'm a facts person. And I ain't going to fret. I am an Ice Cube fan. But I'm going to just state facts. We're not going to go off opinion. So that way, anybody say, you can Google what I'm saying. Ice Cube, from the beginning of his career, has not only spoken out for Black people, created platforms for Black people, given jobs, uplifted Black people. I mean, he put out F the police when technically it was legal for him to be on the radio saying that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For Black people, because of what was going on in LA with the riots and all of that. I think that, for one, I'll say this, to play devil's advocate, the timing, this is the wrong time, because they're going to pander. But it's like a double-edged, because it's kind of the wrong time, but it's kind of like, if it works in your favor, it's kind of the right time, because Democrats are not going to pander for the Black vote because they already secured it. They know they're going to get it. You know what I'm saying? Republican people have to try and get the Black vote. So if it was somebody other than Trump himself that was in the presidency and was a Republican, I would understand his strategy of doing it, because you could possibly get something done, because they're going to want to look good in the Black community. But with that being said, I do feel like the way people are trying to make it seem like, oh, he went and sat with Trump. He didn't sit with Trump.
He didn't sit with Trump. Right. Please look at the facts, guys.
He did not sit with Trump. This is not true. This did not happen. He did not sit down with Trump. And also, he said multiple times, listen, I don't support neither one of them. All I'm trying to do is see who's going to listen, who's going to do something. That's who I'm going to. You know what I'm saying? And I completely 100% respect that, because at the end of the day, as Black people, we can't trust Democrats or Republicans.
That's very true.
And he's also been very clear on the fact that he's an independent. He doesn't even have a party. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's so whack that people are trying to act like, oh, all of a sudden he's this different person, as if his entire career wasn't dedicated to us. Right. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't mind, I would love to get on D.L. Hughley, because that segues perfectly into it because DL Hughley got a lot of nerve to sit on his platform as a Black comedian and tell somebody they shouldn't be speaking because they're a rapper.
Yes.
If that's the case, DL,
I agree.
you also should not be speaking because you're a comedian.
Because you're a comedian?
Where are the jokes?
Yeah.
We just want to hear jokes from you then.
Right.
And then for you to sit there in his rapping, he has uplifted and stood up for Black people. He has made music about justice for Black people. Since you want to talk about him rapping in his movies, them 3 Fridays you tried to throw shade
right.
at.
He did throw shade at those 3 Fridays.
But mind you, those 3 Fridays put out how many successful Black comedians who were not big at the time? In the very first Friday alone, Bernie Mac wasn't as big at the time. Chris Tucker wasn't. He had to fight for Chris Tucker to even get that role because they didn't want him. You know what I'm saying? Regina King was not that big on the top.
That's
Look at where she's at now. Nia Long was not that big on the top. Yep. Look at where she is. I can go on. Mike Epps was not that big when he came out on there. Look at Cat Williams was not that. You know what I'm saying? He's not even a comedian, and look at what he's doing with Black comedians and with Black people in general, Black writers. He didn't get up there and just keep it for himself. And be clear, before Tyler Perry, there was Ice Cube. He had his own production company and he did his own movies because he didn't like the roles that they were writing and they weren't writing enough roles for Black people. So for D.L. Hughley to sit there and dismiss that work that was a part of the culture, Friday is still a staple in our culture.
It is.
And I don't know nothing that D.L. Hughley got that's a staple in the culture that people is still talking about. I even went to the comments to see if maybe I could find something there. And they was asking the same question I'm asking. Well, he's done all of this. What did he? I'm sure he probably put some Black comments on. But D.L. Hughley in himself has been problematic. And if you to sit there and say we entering the 3rd wave of COVID, so he needs to be, how you going to bring up COVID when you was touring when COVID happened and then you didn't sit down until you got it? You got a lot of nerve.
Come on now.
You got a lot of that. Like, it just made me, and then for you as a Black man to tell another Black man that his voice doesn't matter because of what he does for a living. Are you dumb?
Then to do it publicly. That's my
publicly.
Thing. To use your platform to try and break down another Black man is ridiculous.
You didn't even do like the other people did and invite him on your show to have a conversation. You decided to just
have a conversation
down and then act like his accolades and what he's done his entire career is just passed on. Like, oh, do your raps, do your Fridays.
Exactly. Yeah. He tried to diminish everything. He tried to diminish his entire career.
Educated. He's educated. He's not some dumb. He's been educated. I remember in the beginning of his career when he did an interview with this lady and she tried to play because she thought he wasn't smart. She thought he was just another little Black rapper, and he got her together. Like, girl, I know what's going on. Just like 2 Chainz, you know, it's like when he was on the Nancy. Like, girl, I know what's going on. Like, DL really bothered me. This is like, shut up. Shut up.
Now, you know, I have to come in as devil's advocate also because I do, like, I completely agree with the points on D.L. Hughley because I feel like D.L. Hughley also, what he was emanating in that moment was the uneducated, unmotivated person who doesn't even go out and look for the information before speaking. And in that moment,
platinum plan, and it's like Ice Cube didn't come up with the platinum plan, sir.
Exactly, he didn't.
Do your Google.
But there was one interview that I saw that I think is one of the best ways to break down the conversation and why I still feel that although Ice Cube had the full intent of doing good, it was probably the worst decision. And so I watched Roland Martin's interview. And I love Roland Martin as a journalist. He does a fantastic job at asking the right questions, at being persistent enough, but not being pushy. And so there was one question in particular he asked Ice Cube in their interview. And it helped, I think, us all realize publicly that Ice Cube really didn't know what all he signed up for. So he asked him, he was like, well, okay, you know, I'm hearing what you're saying. He's like, but what of yours is mirrored in this platinum plan? If you're collaborating with the Trump administration and they're putting this plan together and the plan is supposed to include elements of your contract with Black America, what in this platinum plan is mirrored in your contract with Black America? And he could not answer it. I mean, it was the cringiest 45 seconds to a minute of him like scratching his nose, looking off into space, because he couldn't answer it, because even Roland was like, like, I'm just letting you know, from my understanding, the $500 billion is not even going to Black people. He's like, from my understanding, like, they haven't included anything that you want to put, like, they're talking about, they're going to give us Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Oh,
that's it.
Oh, that's our 40 acres and a mule. That's what we get, like, a federal
and mind
holiday.
you, a lot of companies have already been doing
have already started recognizing it. But it's like, I think that, and another thing that Ice Cube should have thought about was when he started constructing this plan, the Congressional Black Caucus, the CBC, actually has a plan that is very similar to a lot of the points and more of what he's covered in the Contract with Black America. And I think that could have been an amazing collaboration between, him and the Congressional Black Caucus, because that's something that Black people have not publicly or in a major way seen celebrities endorsing. Like, we haven't seen a ton of celebrities endorsing our Black Caucus and getting behind their programming and getting behind the things that they have
let me
planned.
ask you this. Do you feel as though, seeing how Dio responded to him being a rapper and feeling the need to speak up about Black issues, do you feel like if he had went to the Black Caucus, they would have taken him serious or listened or wanted to sit down with him?
I can't say yes or no to that, because I honestly don't know. I want to say that the woman who ended up coming into the interview with Roland was somehow connected. Like, she might have been executive director or something, because she even was making the point. She's like, I really wish you had come to us. Like, imagine, like, the credibility you would have given us and the credibility we would have given you, and how we could have worked together. Like, it could have been a collaborative effort. So, I can't say that it would have ultimately, because we also got to keep it real. Even within our community, there's a certain perception of rappers and of artists and of the thug, like, there's a certain perception that uppity Black Negroes would have put on him. And I don't think that that's entirely fair either. I think we've got to get back to the fact of, like, we Black. Like, it doesn't matter how many degrees we have, how many awards we've won, how many times we've traveled the country.
We all go through the same
through the same thing. No matter how much money's in your bank account, if you still look Black at the end of the day, you can still end up on the wrong end of a police officer's gun. Like, it doesn't matter. So I just think in that particular, goodness gracious.
I agree 100% with that. But let me throw a curveball in there.
Okay, curveball. I'm ready.
Everybody's coming down on Ice Cube for using, because let's be clear, I 100% agree that if he had collaborated with the Black Caucus, it would have been bananas. It would have been perfect to do. However, we constantly get on these people for not using their platform. And I think because he knew I'm Ice Cube and I can get in the room, that was him using his platform to get in the room and to have these conversations so that they can start having those conversations. And also, when Kim Kardashian went in the room for prison reform, nobody had a problem. It was, she's doing great work.
Right.
Oh, she's doing such great work.
Neil
also met with his campaign, and it was, they're doing great work. But when Ice Cube does it, he needs to go sit down. It's like, why is it okay for Kim Kardashian to work with him?
But you also got to realize,
for him.
You also got to realize, worldwide, community-wide, regardless of race, you're pitting a white woman against a Black man. Like, and
that white woman who's married to a Black man with a MAGA hat on. So
just a whole circus over there. Whole circus, all the clowns.
But it's like, she was praised for that, as if she was doing something for Black people. And it's like,
I'm not saying that was right. Exactly. I'm not saying that was right at all, because I think that was entirely wrong. Like, I feel that her actions were done with ulterior motives. And I feel that Ice Cube came from a completely genuine, heartfelt, real place. So I'm not discounting his effort or his intention, because I think he had a very positive intent. But I do believe that when you sign up for something and you have this major plan that is going to shake the culture at its core, you need to go on TV prepared. You need to know what you're talking about. And you need to know that if this is what I've signed up for, and this is what I'm saying I'm a part of, or I'm connected to in some form or fashion, I've got to be able to defend my actions. I've got to be able to defend the voice. I've got to be able to defend this publicly. Like he knew that was going to be a part of the conversation, that he'd have to defend it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just confused as to why even going on this Black man show, on this brother show, why he wasn't prepared, because it wasn't like Roland was attacking him.
Right.
He wasn't attacking him. But Ice Cube he was very combative. He was very defensive. Like he was interrupting Roland. Like he wasn't even the normal Ice Cube that we would see. He was in defense mode. And I just think,
rightfully so, though, considering what's been happening to him on the internet, I'd be kind of in defense mode.
But it's I just feel like I don't think he fully understood what he signed up for before it went public, and then it was too late. Like it was too late at that point, and he wasn't prepared enough to go out into the public and to defend his actions, which I don't even think he necessarily even needed to defend his actions.
I was gonna say, I don't even think it's that he wasn't prepared for it. I think going into the situation, I think he just didn't care how it was gonna look, because even when he brought up, like, they didn't call me a sellout for doing all the other stuff I did when I left the group. They called me a sellout for going to school. They called me a sellout for doing, you know what I'm saying? So I think he kind of went into it with the mindset of like, I don't really care what people are going to think. I'm doing this for my people. You know what I'm saying? Because he was even saying, he was like, I'm not going in there talking about minorities. I'm not going in there talking about,
I loved that. Black people,
you know what I'm saying?
Specifically. It's not a people of color thing. Yeah.
Right. And I think for him, he went in there with such a I don't care mentality, but you have to realize who you're dealing with. And you are dealing with people who are currently trying, and that's why I say it's the timing of it that was so trash, because they are trying to get elected. They are only here to
get elected.
And I think to him, in his mind, he probably thinking walking in, like, as long as we getting in and we're talking about it, but it's like, these ain't the ones.
These ain't the ones, right?
It was Bush or somebody like who was actually a politician and not Trump, who just out here just be out. I don't even know.
Just doing stuff. He just be out here just like a sim, how he feels.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody who won't even condemn white supremacy. Like, it's just it was the wrong time with the wrong person. And I think to him, he was like, I don't trust either one of them, so I don't really care either way. I think that was kind of his mindset, whereas a lot of Black people are so Democrat no matter what, that when they see Black people talking to anybody else, it's gonna be a problem regardless.
It's gonna be a problem.
It didn't even matter. If they said he sat down with Republicans, it was gonna be a problem.
It was over. Yeah.
And I think it was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Damned if
he didn't use his platform, he would have been judged for that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I agree. The timing was like
the time. I think, and I agree with you. I think the timing was really the worst part of it, because, and I mean, we can just scratch a little bit on this, because right now I don't even know if it's whatever. So someone else who had a little questionable timing was P. Diddy, and I don't know if you've been following what's been going on with him.
No,
and this whole, he is attempting to create a Black political party. And the timing is really questionable, because right now our date today is like the 20th of October or something like that. So we're literally 2 weeks out from the election, like 2 weeks out from the election.
To the date.
And you're literally like talking about creating a political party. And my thing is, and I think that it's something that he has as a long-term effort, because he's like, right now, let's really help get Joe Biden in, and we get him in and we hold him accountable to these actions. And he did this interview with Charlamagne. You got to check it out. We can maybe talk about it in another episode, but he did this interview with Charlamagne where there were a lot of good points. Cause these two have had like a little beef over the past couple of years, a little energy. But he did this interview with Charlamagne, which was a great interview. And I think I actually learned a lot from it, and I found it to be a very thoughtful conversation. But again, it's the timing that is peculiar, because I'm one of those, conspiracy theorists who's like, okay, are these legitimate or are these distractions? Because distractions do arise, especially during pivotal points when we need to be unified. So yeah, it's a lot going on, and I agree, timing is just very peculiar in that IQ situation.
Yeah. And I definitely, just to touch on, like, black votes and stuff like that. I definitely feel like we put so much emphasis on the presidential vote and we're not educating people. Like, if you wanted to do this, you have to start locally. You're not going to get, it's not happening at the top.
It doesn't happen
at the top. You have to start locally. If we don't have, it's just like when Obama was in office, he couldn't get anything done because the Senate or the House was like against it. Like, it was predominantly Republican. He couldn't really do what he was trying to do. And I feel like we put so much emphasis on the presidential debate, and there's such a back and forth, election, and there's such a back and forth about whether or not our vote even counts in that I feel like we don't pay attention to where it does count, and that's locally. We as Black people, especially young Black people, because I was in college and I helped put Obama in office for his second term, you know what I'm saying? I voted. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But we single-handedly, young Black people, we did that the first and the second time.
And the second time, yes.
Our votes count. We have power, and we're not using it the right way. And the problem is we don't have, like, before they had Black leaders, at least, that was going and speaking for the people. You had people like Malcolm. You had people like Martin. You had the leaders of the Black Panther Party who were going and speaking for us. They were our Black leaders. We don't have that now, and I feel like we're never going to have that because of social media. So everybody has a voice at this point. But it's like, even when we do have somebody that does want to come up and speak, we immediately shred through their tweets and their background, and we want to find out how we going to tear them down, how we going to find something wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? And then even too,
absolutely,
people like D.L. Hughley with this crab in the barrel mentality, because I bet you any amount of money, if it was his idea, he would have wanted to run it up. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't want nobody to tell him to shut up, because he'd be having a whole lot to say. You know what I'm saying? Nobody told you to shut up and tell jokes. It's just like homegirl saying shut up and dribble. Like, it's disgusting. That crab in the barrel mentality. And it's like, we're not going to get anywhere like that.
It's almost as if they're saying, oh, well, because you have this job, the job is all that you are. Like, it's negating the fact that they're humans. Like, humans have we have these human experiences, no matter what type of career path we've chosen. So just because I go into this, that, or the other doesn't mean that that's going to negate the fact that everything else in the world affects me, and that I'm entitled to my opinion about those things.
And at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're still Black in America. They don't care.
That is our bottom line. Like,
you're still, it don't matter how smart you are. Obama made it as the first Black president, and he still was just Black to them. They didn't care. They immediately started to tear him down and try to figure out, he ain't even from this country, or his name's Muslim. Like, they immediately tried to find any way to exactly. Why? Because no matter how smart you are, no matter how well you speak, no matter how far you climb, you're still black. To them, and you're still beneath them to them. And once we realize that and really come together as a people and start uplifting each other, we're not going to get anywhere. We're really not. And I feel like true. Even with him presenting his views, it's like that conversation of, are Black people monolithic? Like, do we all have the same view and opinion of how we should be treated or what we should get? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so much groundwork we haven't laid, and we trying to run. And we ain't even crawled yet.
So much groundwork.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't even learned how to roll over yet. And we trying to run.
Exactly.
It's like, we got to start at the base.
Before we get back off of one comment you said, because I think it's really important for people to realize this, and this is to all of our listeners. You were talking about how important it is to vote locally. I want everybody to think about this. Think about this, 5011 fam. In most cases, your attorney general, your district attorneys, your sheriffs, your commissioners, those are elected positions. So the crap that you deal with on a local level, you could affect that. You could unify, you could mobilize those votes. Y'all could make actual impact and change in your communities in those specific. That's how you make the bigger impact. That's how you reach the White House, is you start with the town. Then you go from the town and you take the city, and you go from the city and you take the county. So it starts at home. You've got, and I mean, that's something that was preached in the church, is it starts at home. It does. It starts at home. So yes, I think we had a great chat, a really great conversation, a really hot conversation. Before we get out of here, I know that we like to do our for the culture segment at the end of each show. So do you have a Black business to shout out for everybody today?
Absolutely do. This
Love it.
is a Black skincare line. It's organic and it's called Get Flawless Skin. She's actually based in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
One Black woman, you know what I'm saying, with flawless skin. Let's be clear, because her
Love
skin
it.
looks amazing. Like she even telling y'all something. But it's Get Flawless Skin at and you can also go on getflawlessskin.com. It helps with eczema, sensitive skin, oiliness, a lot of the things that Black people deal with. There's a lot of Black folks with eczema. I'm one of them.
Yes,
and I know
it runs in my family. Yes, it runs all through my family.
You don't want to be Black with dry, sticky, ashy skin.
Okay. Yes.
So and to be quite honest, as somebody with eczema, a lot of those like acne washes, that makes it worse for me. So get you some skincare for somebody with your skin who know your skin. Okay, if you Black, why not get skincare from a Black person? Makes the most sense. You know, so Get Flawless Skin. Follow her on Instagram, getflawlessskin.com. Check out the site, check out her products, show her some love.
Yes, Get Flawless Skin, based out of Atlanta. Love it. Well, my Black business shout out is actually an up and coming Black entrepreneur. This is one of my close friends. Her name is Shaquita Searcy. That's ShaquitaSearcy. Shaquita Searcy on Instagram. She is a stylist. She has all the pro tips on styling. She does tons of videos on the new trends, and she's super open to creating content that the people want to see. So if you have questions about styles, you have questions about denim, you have questions about fabrics and what things look good for certain body types, this is the girl to reach out to. She's got all of the fabulous tips. And she's actually my personal stylist. So love that. Gotta love that. But Shaquita Searcy, again, that's ShaquitaSearcy on Instagram.
We're gonna put they're gonna be in the description to highlight
below.
The Black businesses so that people can go find them easily.
So guys, this has been another great chat, and we're really looking forward to what all we've got coming forward. So thanks so much for tuning in to another episode. This was episode 2 of the 50 Limb Chronicles with Jay and D. Yes, we'll love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, as Pam would say.